My name is Katherine Johnson, and I'll be talking for a few minutes about my instructional needs analysis project, looking at a new publishing process at a large educational publisher. This work was done as part of my course study at the George Washington University and my class on instructional needs analysis. I completed my training needs analysis as part of a business process management team project. This team had a goal of reducing slippage of publications from one calendar year, budget year, to another. Their recommendations resulted in an entirely new manuscript production process, which had impacts on everyone in the organization, most specifically authors, acquisitions editors, development, production staff, and compositors and freelancers. Because this process is such an overhaul from our old process, a budget was set for training. And my work in instructional needs analysis was designed to assess what training might be most useful in the context of the goal of reducing slippage of publications. How did I accomplish this? I began with a review of the extant data, and because there was so much data available through the BPM team's hard work, I had fishbone diagrams and survey results, but I also reviewed our publication plans and financial data and our own very clear strategic vision thanks to our strong management team. I interviewed the BPM team co-leaders, one of whom is the manager of the production department, to understand why they made the recommendations and what the goals were that they saw from any training that might come from this. I then interviewed staff who had been using the new process through the pilot program and throughout the rollout, which at the point of my study had been approximately 3 months, to understand their experience using this new process. Once I reviewed all of this data, I put together some potential solutions and sent them out to all of the staff to rank the value of these potential training solutions on a Likert scale. What did I learn? The goal of this new process was largely misunderstood. As I mentioned earlier, the initial goal was to reduce slippage from one publication year to another, and yet the interpretation on the floor was that the goal of the new process was to improve quality. While improving quality is an admirable goal, that was not the official goal of this project. Second, applying a process like this is very challenging in the publishing world. I was reminded several times that we make books and not widgets, and because we don't publish the same type of product every time, we publish things from large multi-contributed volumes all the way to small single-authored review books with different staff every time. It's not the same product and not the same problem. Also, communication skills are more critical than ever. In our old process, people did not need to communicate quite as much as they do in this new process. And having difficult conversations from one group to another, as well as communicating in writing to authors and to management, is really critical. How am I applying the findings? First, I am going to suggest initiating regular critical incident reviews with the production teams and with the acquisition author teams. And the reason that I'm suggesting this is to take a post-mortem look at specific publications and take a time to talk about what really went well with the new process and to celebrate those successes. I also then want to look at what we might do differently if we had it to do all over again. I think putting teams together this way to make sure that they can talk about best practices is a really good way to make sure that we're sharing best information from one person to another. Second, because this is such a new process, there is a bit of over-information. The new BPM team suggested a lot of processes with a lot of supporting data, and while everything is there, it makes it very hard to pick through in an applicable way. So I'm recommending checklists for each project, because checklists are our friends, and it helps to make sure that we keep things on track. Lastly, because everyone has a different set of skills, making optional skills training available, from things like managing schedules in Outlook to having difficult conversations to even assessing whether something requires third-party permission, is really critical, and allowing people to self-select for their own improvement will help people be more invested in their training. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, are things I learned that I would do differently next time. First, finding a supportive colleague or a manager. Having someone to talk through the approach and the findings with was really helpful, and someone who knew the players was also really helpful. It let me consider alternate approaches. At the same time, it's very important to be careful not to be taken off track or over-influenced by this supportive colleague. Second, managing around the fears of the players in the instructional needs analysis is really critical. There was some concern initially that I might be out to point fingers of blame at non-performing people, which was not at all the case. So suspecting that up front and being able to manage proactively towards that and invest those people who might be naysayers or have concerns in the benefit and value of this process was really critical and helped move it along. Lastly, the importance of being flexible is critical. I had a plan. I had a really good plan. And then there was a hurricane and a snowstorm and 10 days of business travel and a Thanksgiving holiday. So things did not unfold the way I had thought they would. Nevertheless, being flexible in my data collection, having a backup plan, and always focusing on what was the most high yield was really important. And I would recommend that for next time. Thank you very much for your time. I hope this was helpful.